Hello, and welcome to Senior Solutions Show today. We are actually the Southeastern Vermont Council on Aging and have been I would say, in business for a number of years. We were one of the original councils on aging, and we're very pleased to be here today with this special program about our case managers. Case managers are an integral part of Senior Solutions because they are the ones who actually deal with our clients. So I'll be introducing you to three of them today, but before I do that, I just want to give you a really quick overview of some of the services that they're able to help our clients with. We have obviously benefits packages and programs that we offer to people through the Older Americans Act, which is a federal program. We also have programs funded through the state, and we have other programs and healthcare initiatives that are funded through private grants. All of these help with, we could have caregiver respite grants. We have the ability to help people sign up for Choices for Care, which is a long-term Medicaid program, alternative to nursing home care. We have so many different programs. I won't go into all of them now, but if anybody out there is 60 or older or disabled, I hope you'll call our helpline, which is 1-800-642-5119. And without wasting any more of your time, I'd like to do a quick introduction of our three case managers, and then we'll be letting them take over, which I just want you to know, they're really happy to be here, and we hope that you're going to enjoy this program. So let's start off. Pam. We have Pam Halm here. She's one of our case managers. Would you like to tell us something about, your hobbies or what you enjoy doing, or just say hi?
Hi.
Good start.
I love all things food. I love to grow food. I love to cook food. I love to eat food. I guess you call me a foodie. I love hiking in the summertime, all things to do with nature, all things to do with animals. I love wildlife, fresh air, open spaces, sunshine, all of those things.
Oh, it sounds really good. That's a good start for us. Malcolm, how about yourself? This is Malcolm Hamlet. He's also one of our case managers. Go ahead, Malcolm.
Hi. I really enjoy music. That's one of my passions. I perform with the Grafton Cornet Band during the summer time, and then during the school year, so to speak, I participate with the Springfield Community Chorus. We do a wide variety of music, and it really speaks to me that way. Other interests I have, gardening to a much lesser extent than Pam, but I do enjoy our backyard gardens that we have during the summer.
Nice, nice. That sounds good too, boy. Edie, how about you? This is Edie Brown, and she's another one of our case managers. And Edie, what are some of your favorite things?
Well, I enjoy music, listening to it, and gardening and food, like you two. But I would concentrate more on the handiwork, handcrafts. So I've learned how to braid rugs many years ago from my husband's grandmother, taught me how to do that. And I'm at my 50th rug I've just finished.
Oh my God, 50?
50.
Wow.
And I knit. I make, I think it was like 48 to 50 pairs of mittens a year that I donate to the people in Chester have
is that the Warm Hands,
the Warm Hands, Warm Hearts
yeah.
event. So every year I donate many pairs of woolen mittens.
That is terrific. Wow, I'm so happy that you three could be here today because you know about so many different needs that our communities have here in Windsor and Windham County. And I was hoping maybe you could fill me in also on how did you come to be working in this field? Pam, want to go back and start with you?
From the time I was a little girl, 2 years old actually, I met an elderly person in our community, 2 neighbors up, and she became a mentor to me until I was age 16. She was very important in my life. And through her, I learned that seniors have a lot of wisdom to offer, a lot of experiences, a lot of things that I wanted to know. And so I've worked with seniors my whole life, from the time I was 16, working in a nursing home, working in hospitals with seniors, working with developmentally disabled seniors, and now I came to Senior Solutions. So it seems a perfect fit because I've always worked and loved this populations.
Well, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's glad that you are at Senior Solutions. That's terrific. Thank you. Malcolm, how about yourself?
Similar to Pam, I always remember being drawn to older adults as a kid. When I was a teenager, I had a paper route that covered the whole town, and Thursdays were collection day, and they would usually take much longer because I would always stop and visit with my customers, and a number of them were seniors at that time. And then as an adult in my 30s, I felt called to go into the ministry and served as a pastor for a number of years. So obviously a number of my parishioners were seniors, and I would do visitation. When I was later involved with our regional conference, one of my main responsibilities was to visit our retired pastors and their wives, and really developed a love there. And then as I was looking for a full-time job in order to support my kids' habits of going to college, I had seen the opening for a case manager with Senior Solutions. Although I don't have a social work background, my experience working with older adults at that time opened the door for my joining the staff here, and I've been on staff for a little over 2 years now.
Great. And I'm sure that your experience in the ministry was a great aid. It's really helpful.
Yep.
And I'm really glad you're with us too. Edie, how about you? Do you have any, background or reason why you came into this?
So I grew up with my grandpa living in the house with me, so I always had an elder in my life. But when I got married and started having children, I had the privilege of staying home with the kids, and had a childcare in my home. And once the children were into school themselves, I found another job with, actually as a volunteer coordinator for a small CARES organization in the town I live in. And from there, was invited to apply here at Senior Solutions to be a case manager. So I've been with the agency quite a while.
That's great. I hate to say this, but you guys are a great match for Senior Solutions. And I know that our clients are really lucky to have you. Do you have any favorite clients? Not mentioning names, of course. But have you ever had like a special experience or anything with a client that you would like to share with us?
I have one. I was asked to work with a lady. When I first started the agency, my role was called an advocate. So the lady I worked with was a single lady who had been a social worker herself for many years. She had no children, never married. There was she and her brother living in the little town of Saxons River. And so I used to go there as an advocate and help her with simple things, benefit applications, things, whatever that nature. When she was 97 years old, she was developing medical problems, and she was still living alone. But she could no longer safely do that because she was very unbalanced on her feet.
Sure.
She was having little mini strokes. She was getting confused. But her desire was to stay in her own home where she'd always lived. And how is that going to happen? She had no family in the area. And so this became a community effort. It was very special. We had to reach out to her cousin, who was a second cousin who lived in New York State, to take on the legal responsibilities for her and what's called employer for the Choices for Care program. So that cousin got involved and assisted us with all the financial stuff we needed to do. Her pastor's wife became the local employer. That's what happened for the caregivers. So she was overseeing the day-to-day. The other one was overseeing the financial.
Sure.
And I remember when she was 100 years old that a special birthday party was held at the church in her town. And about 100 people came. Almost the whole town came.
Isn't that wonderful?
Her physician was there. People from Vermont Academy, which was a very special relationship she had, were all there. And I just felt so rewarded to know that because of the program that I work with, that she was still in her home at 100 years old, still in her community. It was able to happen. The person actually was a living caregiver that we arranged for. And she continued to live with her until she passed away in her own home at 104 years old.
Oh my goodness.
So I thought that was
That's a beautiful
such
story.
a rewarding, wonderful experience to be
Yeah.
part of that. And it was a real team effort. Vermont Academy students used to come and help do respite for the caregiver. It was just beautiful how all the pieces came together.
That's fantastic. You're right. That's what we would wish for everybody.
Yes.
It doesn't happen for everybody, but that's
No.
wonderful.
Yes.
Oh, it makes me feel so good. Thank you. Anybody else have a story like similar or different?
Well, I think for me, one of the things that is very rewarding is being able to help new clients, especially through the crisis of having to deal with either themselves realizing that they can no longer take care of themselves, or family members who can no longer adequately take care of their parents. And it can be quite daunting to have to apply for the long-term care Medicaid Choices for Care program, and it's rewarding to be able to step them through it,
Yeah.
to say, you know, I understand this is what we can do, and
Sure.
just to lessen the stress for them and, you know, help them realize this is doable.
And you're right, it's hard enough when you're in that position where you need long-term care, let alone have to go through the administrative procedures to get through the process itself. So what you do to help people with that is incredible.
You know,
That's
and
great.
you know, just I think one of the hardest parts is having to get all your financial documents together,
Yeah.
and you know, especially if you do have some assets and
Oh, yeah.
own your own home, that it can be quite challenging at times to be able to gather everything, and it's quite rewarding to be able to help them with it, and then, you know, get to the point where they've been approved and they can begin getting the services that they need. The family can get a little bit of relief and you know, go from there. I think it's definitely challenging. I've learned quite a bit in the 2 years that I've been with the agency. I feel like I'm busier now than I ever was, even as a pastor. So,
Yeah.
but it's rewarding.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is really wonderful.
One of the things that strikes me about our job is reassuring people when a loved one or yourself needing care. A lot of people just automatically think, oh, now I'm going to a nursing home. But this Choices for Care program can provide care in a person's home. And it's just so much nicer to age in your own place. And although Pam shared the case with a live-in caregiver, many elders find that they can get by with help coming in a few hours a day, or they might attend adult day plus have a caregiver a few
that's
hours
true.
a day. So we're problem solving all through it. And as a case manager, we stay involved on a monthly basis with the ones who are on Choices for Care in their
Yeah,
home.
that's a good
So-
feature.
So we have input a lot, and we built some pretty good friendships.
That's really special, and it is important. If someone has a case manager, they know someone's looking over their shoulder and making sure that they're being taken care of, and that, you know, things are happening when they should.
Well, we become an important trust relationship to them, and a lot of them look to us as the person to coordinate everything that's going on. But as Edie said, long-term relationships, I have a number of people that are 10, 11, 13 years, I've been their case manager. So they see me month after month or talk with me. So you obviously develop a pretty close bond during that time. They get to know me, I get to know them. And so they feel they can trust me with intimate things.
Right.
And they know I'm not going to pass judgment on whatever that is.
I think that's very important. It's also important to know, for people to know, that when you're staying in touch with these people, you probably are in touch with them more than their own family members who may live across the country.
Absolutely.
At times, yes.
So, you know, this
Absolutely.
is a real pivotal relationship, and it's very important.
Some of them look to us like family.
Yeah. Well,
Unfortunately, I have one lady that
Yeah.
every person that ever calls her, she refuses to talk to. She said, you need to call Pam Holly. She wants me to do everything.
I guess you are the most important person in her life.
But we don't tell people what to do.
No, I know.
This is all person driven, and so it's
That's right, because we do try to respect everybody's
That's right.
wishes, because
Yeah.
they're, as long as they're competent, which the clients are, we have to respect what they want. Which brings me to another
Yeah.
question.
Sure.
What about clients coming to us because of self-neglect? I think that's an up-and-coming, even a bigger and growing problem here in our state. Sometimes there's very little you can do, but does anybody have experience with a client or having a referral about self-neglect?
I have a story that stands out.
Oh, go for it.
It stands
yeah.
out of all the self-neglects I've ever had, which is quite a few. The gentleman was 88 years old, living alone, very frail, clearly not in a good nutrition situation, not really eating much. He had no heat. He had no running water. He had goats running around. One of them passed away. That's how we originally got the call. There was a dead goat on the roof of his place, which was rather a shack. And the other one, when I went out to investigate, had eaten its way through the back door and had its beard full of burdock.
Oh,
And so we had to deal with that. But when my supervisor and I went into the home, because he came with me, because the referral said that this gentleman was very suspicious of everyone, thought everyone worked for the government, and was chasing people away with a shotgun. So it was kind of scary about even going there.
oh, yeah.
So my supervisor came with me, and when we went in, there was a terrible odor because the gentleman could not use the bathroom, which was downstairs. So he was urinating in buckets and doing the other thing in newspaper, which his neighbor took care of. His neighbor became his friend and very pivotal in this whole story. So when we went in, there was a pathway wide enough for your body with things piled 6 feet high all around you. And we went in, and there were cobwebs so black and so thick like I had never seen ever before. And there were 18 cats who were interbreeding because none of them had been spayed or neutered.
Yeah.
And they all were full of fleas.
Oh.
They were running around. And here was this gentleman. We're looking like, where is he
Where is
with
he?
all this stuff? And here's this little gentleman sitting in a chair with blankets wrapped around him, with space heaters on each side, trying to stay warm. He had not bathed, according to him, and I believed it based on what I saw, for 2 years.
Oh, my goodness.
He had not had clean clothes that long.
Yeah.
He was wearing the same clothes over and over. And he was very suspicious of us, so we couldn't follow our usual assessment process or anything. So it's like, how do you reach this gentleman? We just started chatting with him and finding out who he was and earned his trust over time. I kept going back, and it came to the place that he allowed, believe it or not, visiting nurses to come in 7 days a week.
Wow.
They assisted him with personal care. He was now clean shaven. He had a really long beard prior to that. He had clean laundry all piled up every time I went to visit.
Oh.
We had Sevka weatherization come in because the place was very drafty.
Yeah.
They weatherized. They put in a new heater, a kerosene heater on the wall.
Wow.
We brought in a senior companion because he couldn't eat properly, who blended his meals on wheels every day
Oh, my
so he
goodness.
could eat.
Great.
And it was amazing to me, this man, who, the way he was in the beginning, how he just kept accepting more and more and more, and was safe and content in his situation. So it was a lot of work, but extremely rewarding.
It sounds like a fantastic transformation.
It was.
Because of that, I bet it's a lot of it,
It was.
because of that human contact.
And once again, I can't emphasize enough, it's the support people that make it happen. The case manager can't make it happen.
Right.
We have to bring in agencies, we have to bring in senior companions, we have to bring in community people. This case, his neighbor played a huge role in making this work. So it's a team effort. We're part of a team. We're not just the case manager. We're kind of the coordinator of a
Right.
whole team of people that make it happen.
Well, that's why you're the case managers, because you manage and do make the connections with other agencies, with all the different healthcare facilities
Right.
and social services and everything. Even though Senior Solutions does not provide direct services, we facilitate it. And you three, plus our other case managers who will meet sometime later. Really, it's an important service. I can't believe these stories. It's amazing. Yeah. Anybody else want to throw in a story, or you're okay?
Well, for me, I'll admit that the self-neglect cases are the ones that are a little bit challenging. And
Yeah.
you know, they're an area that I'm working on and improving. So, but each case is definitely different. Some of them do have the community supports that we can
That's good.
work with. Others, it is challenging because they are quite independent still. And I think Pam hit upon a key point is that, again, it's developing trust.
Yeah.
I think a number of the people that I've interacted with for the self-neglect cases have been mistrustful of people, and it's learning their trust.
I think you're right. It sounds like
Yeah.
trust is a major issue. And I would suspect as, people age, people get set in their ways, and they don't like to be told what to do, which is one thing that you are very good at, not telling people what to do, but getting in there and helping to help them access the help that they want. And giving them the information that they need so that they can make a good choice. Edie, how about you? Do you have a special memory of something?
I think it's a blanket, just kind of melding together a lot of experiences that I can remember several times people who, as a last resort, ended up calling our agency. And by then, they're pretty much in despair about finding any services. And little by little, it does take time to do all the paperwork, unfortunately, but little by little, services can get set in place and success can occur. And I have to say, some of the most challenging cases are the ones that stay in my heart the longest.
They really touch you.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that this has been an extremely important learning experience for me to hear about a lot of your challenges and successes and the connections that you've made with not just other agencies, but with the individuals that you look and take care of and help walk through the system and so forth. So I think one of the things I'd also like to share is that we have programs like the Senior Companions, friendly visitors, who can be another set of eyes and ears and human contact for the people that are stuck at home where they want to be, but can no longer really maybe cook, can no longer, get out to visit their friends. Maybe they've lost their friends through age and illness. Don't have relatives living nearby to stay in touch with them. And, losing that personal contact is so hard for them. But the fact that Senior Solutions has available services that can help underpin their lives, make their lives more comfortable and secure, and also help them access healthcare services and nutrition services and things like that. But without your guidance, most of them wouldn't even know about it. But once you get into the home and you do an assessment, you're able to say, would you like? Do you want? Would fuel assistance help you? Are you getting enough to eat? These are the kinds of things you can't find out by putting an ad in the paper saying, sign up for Meals on Wheels. You can't do it by remote control. The state can't do it by sending a 3 squares application in the mail to someone. Because that person could be 85 and not ambulatory, can't get out the door to get down to the mailbox at the end of his driveway. So the work that you guys do, I have to say, is so critical, and I'm so grateful to you. And I'd just like to say to everybody out there, please, if you know someone who needs help or you need help yourself, don't be afraid to call. Call our helpline, which is again 1-800-642-5119. And people like Pam, Malcolm, and Edie will be happy to meet with you. If you can come into our office in Springfield, that's fine. If you can't, just let us know, and we'll be happy to make appointments and find out what your needs are. And they will work very hard to connect you with the right agencies and the right benefits and the right services. So on that note, I would thank them for being here. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. This was very interesting. And I'd like to thank all of you out there for joining us for the program. And I hope that you all enjoyed this half as much as I did. Thank you. Bye now.